Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Tracks, Rocky Mountaineer's Training Program, brought to you by Rocky Mountaineer and, of course, Baxter Media. Presenting for us today is George Johns, Senior Trainer and Consultant, Global Sales for Rocky Mountaineer. Hi, George. How are you today?
I'm great, Dan. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So just before we get started, I'd like to let all the viewers know that if you have any questions during this webinar, just type them into the Q&A box found in your Zoom toolbar, and those questions will be answered after the presentation has finished. Also, if you have any problems hearing George or seeing the presentation, just type a message into the chat box and I'll do my best to assist you. Okay, George, if you'd like to go ahead and share your screen, you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay, there we go. Hit the share button, hit the, there we go. Dan, you see my first slide from the PowerPoint?
Yeah, we can see it. Looks good on my end.
Great. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy days to learn about Rocky Mountaineer and our new training program, Tracks. Just before we get started, I would love to get to know a little bit more about you all. So we've created some poll questions that we would like you to answer, just so I can know who's attending here. So Dan, can you go ahead and launch those?
You got it.
Great. So you can see there's 3 questions there. Have you ever sold a Rocky Mountaineer rail tour? Have you ever been on a Rocky Mountaineer rail tour? And has anybody here taken the new Tracks training program? So if you'll just go ahead and click yes or no on any of those 3 ones, and we're just going to keep this poll open for another few seconds. So get your vote in, make sure your vote is counted, and we'll go for another few seconds. So hopefully you're all having a chance. Are we seeing some results coming in on your end, Dan?
Yeah, I can see them on my end. Looks
Great.
like quite a number have come in.
Good deal. So we're going to close it down in 5 seconds. So get your last questions in, your last answers, closing down, and now let's take a look at the results. If we can, we're all on pins and needles. Excellent. So we're looking at about 40% of you have sold us, and 60% of you have not. We have 95% of you have not been on, and 5% have. So we've got a lot of folks out there that we'd love someday for you to be able to experience us in person. And 10% of you basically have already taken the new Tracks training. And I want to distinguish, we did have a Tracks training program that was went for several years and was actually kind of shut down end of 2017. So you may have done that in the past, but we have a new program I'm going to be talking about today. So that's great. We can go ahead and close those results, and I'm going to be able to kind of speak to that, or do I need to hit close?
I can stop the result sharing here, and then I think it should take it off the screen.
Okay, great. All right, there we go. So so thank you all for sharing your experience, and I want to, for those of you who haven't sold us, I'm hoping that this can be the opening gambit for you guys to become familiar with our very unique product and the tools that we've given you to be able to get proficient in selling Rocky Mountaineer. So what we're going to talk about today is, first of all, just why. Why should you sell Rocky Mountaineer? What's in it for you? There's so many products out there in the world. What is it about Rocky Mountaineer that makes it such a great, compelling product to add to your portfolio for your valuable customers? We're going to introduce Tracks, which is our new online training program, and really going to help you to understand who we are and how to grow your business with Rocky Mountaineer. And then we'll go through some next steps and questions and answers at the end. So we hope to have this thing wrapped up in 45 minutes or less. So let's get going. So the first question, why sell us? Why? What is it about Rocky Mountaineer that is so special? So I'm going to partially answer the question in the form of a pop quiz. This actually comes straight out of our tracks training program, and they're really kind of fun little questions that we pepper throughout the training. So this question is, what percentage of Rocky Mountaineer guests rate their experience as either excellent or very good? And if you were taking this quiz on tracks, you could slide that slider up to any percentage point, but we'll give you a few choices. So 10% rate their experience as either excellent or very good, 40%, 60%, or 90%. And without further ado, of course, the answer to the question is that fully 90% of our customers rate their journey as excellent or very good. This is really industry-leading customer satisfaction scores. We have very good net promoter scores, if you're familiar with that metric. We just are committed, and you'll hear this over and over again as you hear Rocky Mountaineer people talk about what we do for your customers, is we are the creators of life-changing experiences, and we take that very seriously. So because we have so many customers who come back from a Rocky Mountaineer journey having had the trip of a lifetime, we find that they will recommend it to an average of 15 people, and a lot of times it's way more than that. So what you'll have is that you have all of these salespeople, ambassadors that will come back from a trip if you send them on the Rocky Mountaineer journey, and they will recommend it to their friends and family and hairdresser and post office and everybody in their lives. And so you'll find that it becomes much easier to sell more and more Rocky Mountaineer once you sort of get it going. And if you're wondering, well, where am I going to find the kind of customer that will respond positively to the Rocky Mountaineer? And the answer to that is you have those customers in your database. We've done a lot of research and found that so many of our customers match exactly the cruise demographic customers, particularly river cruise customers. So if you have people that have done river cruise, they're really teed up to want to hear about and enjoy a Rocky Mountaineer journey, and Alaska cruise passengers. So that gives you a good place to start mining for people who would be interested in Rocky Mountaineer. So once you decide, okay, this sounds good, I would like to start selling Rocky Mountaineer or to sell more of Rocky Mountaineer, well, you'll need to understand us. And I will admit that there is some challenge in that just because of our very unique product. We have two different service levels that you can travel on when you're traveling with Rocky Mountaineer: Silverleaf service and Goldleaf service. And both services are really wonderful experiences. Both offer domed, custom designed, glass domed luxury rail cars, super comfortable with very spacious and comfortable seating, great food, high-end service. So, but then Goldleaf service and Silverleaf service are also very different in different areas. There is a cost difference between Silverleaf and Goldleaf. There is a difference in the way food is served. There's a difference in just the configuration of the trains. And so it does become important for you to really understand the two levels of service and what's going to be best for your customer. And then we have 4 different routes. As you hopefully know, we're generally operating between Vancouver and the Canadian Rockies. And we go in both directions. So you can go east to west or west to east. We have, for instance, our first passage to the west, which goes from Vancouver to Banff and Lake Louise. It's one of the most popular routes, but we also have Journey Through the Clouds that goes from Vancouver to Jasper. We have Rainforest to Gold Rush, which is a little bit of a longer train journey that heads up through the rainforest, temperate rainforest around Whistler, and then continues on through the real desert and gold country before heading into the Canadian Rockies Trench. And we have a route that actually starts in Seattle and then connects through Vancouver to Banff or Lake Louise. That's called our Coastal Passage route. And then, though, you'll combine these routes with 65 plus different configurations that you can put on that. So we have different hotels that'll go with the different routes, and different levels of hotels that will go with Silverleaf and Goldleaf. We have transfers, of course, in all of the areas. You have sightseeing options, either self-sightseeing on rental cars or touring options on luxury motor coaches. There's all sorts of different activities for people to combine with their journey. You can combine an Alaska cruise seamlessly with a Rocky Mountaineer route. And we have circle journeys. So you could either go one way, say from Vancouver to Banff, or you could go round trip and go Vancouver to Banff and then Jasper back to Vancouver. So all sorts of different combinations that you can do there. And then, the question will come up, what season? The Rocky Mountaineer operates from mid-April to mid-October. We don't operate in the winter, but we have wonderful springtime departures from April through mid-May or so, where there's still snow on the mountaintops. It's absolutely beautiful. There are sometimes better chances of seeing wildlife in the spring season. Of course, we have the summer season where the days are long and the temperatures are warm, and just a beautiful time to visit the national parks and all the areas in between. And then we have fall, which has its own wonderful things, less crowds, beautiful fall colors. So there's really a case to be made for any season is a great season, but you'll want to know what are the differences and how do I get the right season for the right people. And then there's this whole thing of what goes on the train. I mean, first of all and foremost, the most important thing to know about Rocky Mountaineer is that we are an all daylight train journey. What that means is we generally don't travel at night. There are not sleeper cars on the train. And that's for two very important reasons. One is that it's not so comfortable to sleep on a train. It may be sort of an adventure, but really not the most comfortable thing. But most importantly, you don't want to be traveling at night through this beautiful scenery. How are you going to see a bear? How are you going to see a beautiful glacier or mountain lake, or the people that are lining along the tracks waving at the train? You want to be traveling during the day so that the train travels during the day and then spends the night in charming little towns where you get off the train. Your luggage is already in your hotel room. You spend the night in a hotel, and then the next morning you get back and continue on with your journey. And you'll find also that these journeys are generally 2 and 3 days one way. They can be longer on the train if you do a circle journey, but we're not talking about weeks on a train. I think that's a confusion that people have. But what do you do during those 2 or 3 days on the train? Well, first of all, we just don't leave you alone with, you have the unlimited cocktails and beer and wine served throughout the day. We have great snacks, scones in the morning, and cheese and fresh baguettes in the afternoon, and snacks all day. And then we also have, there's stuff going on all day as the train is going through these beautiful areas and these historic points. You have the onboard hosts that are telling stories about all the places you're visiting, and so you really get to learn as you go there. You're also socializing with people from around the world that are traveling with you in your glass-domed carriage. And you're experiencing just this unbelievably wonderful, warm, attentive service throughout. So whatever you need, whatever you want, you have hosts there that will take care of you. We have an outdoor viewing platform on the Gold Leaf cars, which offers another option during the day. This is a great option for the photographers who want to get out and be able to take pictures without a window between them and their subject. And so that's something that you'll want to be able to know about. And then you can't imagine the great food that we serve on our trains. We have delicious meals, both in the Gold Leaf service and the Silver Leaf service. They're a little bit different in that Gold Leaf service, the Gold Leaf car actually has a dining room on the lower level. The Gold Leaf car is a bi-level dome, so the lower level has a dining car and a galley, a full kitchen built into each car. So they're actually cooking food to order that you have, and just beautiful breakfasts and lunches with very local cuisine like sockeye salmon and Alberta beef. Silverleaf also, though, has delicious meals. They don't have a dining car in the Silverleaf service, so the meals are served seatside at your place, but also quite delicious and amazing. So I hope you're sort of starting to see, like, I just really barely scratched the surface of the kinds of things that you need to know about Rocky Mountaineer when you're talking to your clients about it. And so we've created something for you to really help you to understand at a much deeper level all the different aspects of our journeys, so that you can fully and comfortably and confidently explain that to your customers. And this tool we've created is called Tracks. So the link there, I mean, you can get there from, if you're familiar with our agent portal, which is rockymountaineer.com/agents, you can sign in and get to the Tracks training from there. But you can just go there directly if you type into a browser HTTPS, and the S's we've been finding is very important, / rockymountaineer.com/tracks. And I'm going to put that link up at the end of the presentation too, so you'll have plenty of time to write that down. But that'll take you right to the Tracks dashboard. Now, if you've already if you've already signed in with Rocky Mountaineer on our website, then you should just have to put in your email, and then it'll take you straight to the dashboard. If you haven't done that, then you'll just simply fill out a very simple registration form with your agency name and address, and click a few boxes, and then that'll take you. And you don't need a passport to access Tracks, just your email will go there. So this is what the dashboard looks like for Tracks training. And actually your dashboard would look a little different. This is my personal dashboard, and as you can see, it says 100% in for all the modules, which means I've completed all of the modules. When you start out, it will just give you access to chapter 1, and the other chapters will be locked until you have completed 100% of chapter 1, and then you can move on to the next section. But what I really like about the Tracks training is that it will totally remember exactly how far you got if you previously did Tracks, and it will take you right to that section. So you can just do a few pages at a time if that's all you have time for. The entire program, you can see there's 5 modules, and each module takes 10 to 15 minutes. So we like to say that you can get your entire Rocky Mountaineer specialist certification in 1 hour to 90 minutes. And as you can see, it will really walk you through. We have an introductory chapter that really talks a little bit about who we are and what our history is and what you're going to learn in the TRAX training. And then we have a whole chapter just on the service level. So you really learn what is gold leaf service, what is silver leaf service, how are they different, how might I sell them differently to different kinds of customers. And then we'll go into our routes and each of the 4 routes and what are the sort of high points of each route so that you get a feel for which one might be great for your customer. We also talk about the seasons here so you can get good ideas for when's the best time for your client to travel with us. Then we go into all the different packages and permutations that you can do to put together a full-fledged Rocky Mountaineer journey. And then we'll end up with some tools and resources that you can do to move forward and to create more business. And we've tried to make TRAX. We're working with a wonderful vendor called TravPro Mobile, and together we've created something that I think is very engaging, great little snippets of information in text form that you can read through as you're going there, but also lots of photos and videos and graphic items to just bring the area alive and to bring the history alive. And so many of the photos and the videos and graphics are all downloadable for you so that as you're going through, if you're like, oh, I would love to share that picture with my customer, it's right there. You just hit a button and you can download it onto your own PC or Mac. And we've included throughout the training advisor insights. This is where we've asked our best agents and sellers of Rocky Mountaineer to share their insights of what they feel is important for other travel professionals to know when you're talking to your clients about Rocky Mountaineer. So you'll have these advisor insights throughout the training. And as I say, these really fun quiz questions that come in all different kinds of forms, multiple choice and different kind of things. And you have to answer the question correctly before you can move on in the training. So if you, for some reason, miss that, it just means you have to go back a page or 2 to try to find the answer, and then you go forward. So this, for instance, is I think towards the end of the training, and it asks, what is the name of Rocky Mountaineer's B2B newsletter? And the choices are Off the Rails, Trains for Days, Inside Track, Things Are About to Get Rocky, and Track Attack. And I actually kind of love all of those names for different reasons. But if you're familiar with us, you probably know the answer is Inside Track. And that's going to be one thing I definitely recommend that you do, either as a result of the training will give you opportunities to sign up to receive Inside Track, or just go there and sign up, go to our website and sign up now, because it's a really useful monthly newsletter that'll keep you up to date on everything that's happening with Rocky Mountaineer. So why would you do this? What are the perks of becoming a Rocky Mountaineer specialist? Well, in my mind, first and foremost, it is that you will get the knowledge and confidence to sell more Rocky Mountaineer. I really feel like this training will give you what you need to be able to answer questions for your clients and really position the product in the most accurate and compelling way. You will get a printable certificate, a diploma, if you will, that you could hang in your office. I think, useful in this digital age is that you will also have a digital logo, pictured to the right there, the Rocky Mountaineer Specialist logo, that you can post on your website, your Facebook page, your email signature, wherever you're talking about to your or communicating with customers. And like I say, you've maybe even seen this yourself. Rocky Mountaineer is really in the news lately. We're being featured a lot in media. You have these customers, as I said in the beginning, that are recommending it to their friends and family. So people are out there hearing about Rocky Mountaineer, and they want to talk to a specialist who can help them book a Rocky Mountaineer journey. So if you advertise yourself as a Rocky Mountaineer specialist, it will bring you business. Also, you have to be a Rocky Mountaineer specialist in order to participate in one of our learning journeys. In order to, we do offer year-round industry discounts for certified travel professionals, and so you need to have that specialist certification. As far as learning journeys go, we try to get people on our trips. I've certainly found in 30 years of being in the business that there's no better way for you to become really comfortable and familiar than to experience the product. I don't want to suggest that all you have to do is take the training and we'll whisk you off on a Rocky Mountaineer learning journey the next day. It's really a twofold process. You have to take the training to even be considered for a learning journey. So go do tracks and become a Rocky Mountaineer specialist. Then become active in selling Rocky Mountaineer, and that involves getting a hold of your local business development manager. We have BDMs and account managers throughout North America and actually internationally, and you want to talk to them, say, I really want to grow my Rocky Mountaineer business. I took the Rocky Mountaineer specialist training. I'd love to be considered for a learning journey, and what else can we do together to promote Rocky Mountaineer in my area? And we're going to have specialist-only webinars and training opportunities. So for those of you who take the training, we won't have to then, when we do future training, we don't have to do, well, where does Rocky Mountaineer operate, and where are the sleeper cars on a Rocky Mountaineer train? And we, because you're a specialist, you know where we operate. You know we don't have sleeper cars on a Rocky Mountaineer train, so that we can take you deeper into learning about how to find customers, how to orchestrate a consumer night, how to use our web portal so that you can book travel and get information and download beautiful photography, etc. So those will be very useful to our Rocky Mountaineer specialists. And we have a special incentive going on right now, which is anybody who becomes a Rocky Mountaineer specialist by the end of this month, by December 31st, will be automatically entered into a drawing for 2 Gold Leaf Service tickets on one of our routes. So that is going to be a very nice thing for the winner, and the only way you can win it is to become a Rocky Mountaineer specialist before the end of the month. So that is really all I have to say about Rocky Mountaineer and tracks. I would just like to say that go to this website, go to rockymountaineer.com/tracks. and sign in and sign up and start doing the training. Very soon, we are going to also be releasing a Tracks app. So it's not quite ready yet, but really, I think within the next few days or weeks at most, you're going to be able to go into the iTunes store or the Android store and look up Rocky Mountaineer Tracks and download the Tracks training onto your phone or tablet. And it'll be great to have that there. Even if you do some of it on the web on your computer, you can sort of switch between that. You can download the training so that you can be offline doing the training if you're on an airplane or sitting in a waiting office or whatever. So that's coming soon. I also have our general contact information. If you have a question about Rocky Mountaineer or you want to make a booking, our email is sales@rockymountaineer.com, and you can call toll free, and we do have a French-speaking line as well. So that is really my presentation, and now I want to open it up and see what questions we may have gotten during the presentation, or if you still have a question in you, I'm sure you can type it in and send it Dan's way. And I think Dan's just going to read off some of those questions.
That's right. Thanks so much, George. So we have a couple submitted already, but if anybody else would like to ask something while we're still in the webinar, you can find the Q&A box in your black Zoom toolbar. And let's see, the first question was from Jillian. She asks, I'm curious about how the commissions work. Can you explain that, please?
Yes, I can explain in general that we are fully commissionable, and depending on if you are aligned with any consortium or other organizations, that commission will vary. And the best way to get the exact details on that is to either call our vacation consultants at those numbers there, or you can go into our website at rockymountaineer.com/travel-trade, and then go to the contact us section, and you can find your local BDM and talk to him or her. But we are fully commissionable.
Excellent. Thanks, George. And Richard asks, are rail prices the same for agents who book with a tour operator than booking direct? And what are some of the pros and cons between the two?
Well, definitely the tour operators are generally going to just be buying the rail package from us, and then they're going to put it together with their own products and services as far as transfers and tours and other things. So everybody basically is working with the same price, but they bundle it with all their other stuff. So that I would say the advantages are if it's a company that you're comfortable with, that does a lot of work with Rocky Mountaineer, then I think working with a tour operator or wholesaler can be a good option. But it certainly isn't. You can also contact us, and we can put together full packages as well. So it's really a matter of if you like the tour company, if you're looking for a fully escorted journey, both on and off the rails, then that can be a great option.
Excellent, excellent. And Michelle asks, can you send a link to me if I send you my email? I'm not sure which particular link maybe she was referring to. Just so that she doesn't have to write certain things down.
Yes, I mean, you could also contact sales at Rocky Mountaineer, depending on what it is you're looking for. Yeah.
Great. Okay, excellent. An anonymous attendee asks, does it matter where you sit on the train? My clients have asked me this before.
That is an excellent question, and the short answer is it absolutely does not. One of the great advantages of the domed glass ceiling rail car experience is that you can see out of both sides of the train regardless of which side you're on. I mean, first of all, it's not it's just there's great scenery on both sides of the train. It's not like you're going along and one side of the train has always got sort of a beautiful view. But when you think about a traditional train, the windows are kind of, you would, if you were standing up, you would have to duck down in order to see out of the other side, and you'd kind of be in somebody else's row or whatever. But if something's going on the other side of the train, you can simply stand up right at your seat or whatever and just see perfectly there without getting into anybody else's business. So it is one of the great advantages of the train in this domed car that really doesn't matter which side you're on, you're going to have great views. And if you want to see something from the other side, it's very easy to do in a domed glass car.
It looks amazing from photos that I've seen. And Michelle says, I'm looking for the recording of the webinar. Yeah, no problem, Michelle. The recordings of all these webinars are made available the day after, usually in the afternoon. So if you check the Baxter Media YouTube channel, so just go on youtube.com and search for Baxter Media. Feel free to subscribe to us on there, and the recording of this particular webinar will be uploaded in the afternoon tomorrow. And Thelma asks, if you purchase Silver Class, can you go up to the Dome?
Also a good question. So Silverleaf Service is also a domed car. So they're both domed cars. You don't go between cars. So if you're in a gold leaf car, you're in that gold leaf car for the duration, and same as Silverleaf. But there's no reason, like in Silverleaf, that you've got a beautiful dome. Now it's not a bi-level dome, so you're not quite as high up as you are when you're in a gold leaf dome. And that may be a reason why you want to upsell somebody into the gold leaf dome. But the Silverleaf is a beautiful and very spacious. Since it's just all one level and the glass goes all the way up to the ceiling and over the top, you really have a great sense of spaciousness and being able to see everything in Silverleaf Service as well.
Excellent. Miles asks, other than the app, what is in the pipeline for Rocky Mountaineer for the new year?
Oh, that's a great question as well. We have a lot of new destinations that are coming online for 2019 when we start our 2019 season in April. Rather than sort of go through all those, I would take a look at, go onto our website and look at the different options. These are off the train. I mean, the train is still doing the same routes from between Vancouver and the Canadian Rockies, but especially when we get into the Canadian Rockies, we're now offering some new destinations like Kananaskis and Sunshine Village, and different options for people. Particularly, we've been hearing a lot of interest from people in doing a self-drive option where they can kind of get farther out into the Canadian Rockies and hike and canoe and just enjoy the sort of wilderness. So we're offering a lot of those options for people. We even have now a new alliance with Canadian Mountain Holidays and doing the heli hiking experience and the bugaboos that you can connect on to the beginning or the end of a rail journey.
Great, thanks, John. Jillian asks, are there any platform stops en route that are not a nightly stop?
No, there are not. The train does not stop at any point, but between it when it takes off in the morning and when it gets to the evening destination, which is usually between 5 or 6. The train does travel at what we call Kodak speed, although a lot of the young people may not know what Kodak is, but we travel, the train is most of the time at fastest is going about 35 miles per hour, and excuse my non-digital, I don't know how many kilometers an hour that is, but is traveling generally pretty leisurely even when it's sort of full out. And then if we're going by a waterfall or a historic landmark or just anything that we want to see, the train will slow way, way down so that everybody gets a chance to kind of get positioned to take a picture and to see it and whatever. So we will offer that opportunity, and it's really fun if there's wildlife. The train sometimes won't have the time to slow down, but the engineer will see wildlife and then immediately communicate in the earbuds of all the hosts that are all the way up and down the train saying, there's a bear off to the right, so that everybody immediately is looking off to the right to see if we can get that coveted sighting of a bear or a moose or whatever.
That is awesome. Thanks, George. And it looks like there are just 2 more questions left here in the Q&A box. Thelma asks, what is the minimum number of passengers for group rates?
Our group rates start at 16 passengers. So that's generally what you're going to be looking at for group rates. We have created a new, very much more flexible group program where you can sort of buy into a package rather than having to sort of create your own thing from scratch. And if you have interest or a group, you can also email us at groups@rockymountaineer.com. Or you could email sales and say you have group, and somebody will contact you either way.
Perfect. Thanks. And Miles asks, looks like he wants to confirm whether or not seats are pre-assigned at the time of booking.
They are not. The seats are assigned closer in, about maybe two. Actually, you get your seat assignment when you get to the train. So you don't have that. We will, of course, put families together, put groups together, so that everybody's sitting in the same area. And as I've said, there really is not, it's not like an inside or an outside cabin on a cruise ship. There's just not a bad seat in the house. So you shouldn't be too concerned about that. I mean, you certainly want to make sure that your families and groups of friends are all sitting together, and we will confirm that at the time of booking, but the actual seat assignment comes much closer to departure.
Perfect. And it looks like one more question was submitted, and that was, how many staff are on the Silverleaf?
Very good question. It varies, but generally you'll have 2 hosts in Silverleaf and 3 to 4 hosts in Gold. So that, and we, you'll actually find that some of our most experienced hosts are in Silverleaf. They just love it because they kind of do everything in Silverleaf. Whereas in Gold Leaf, you'll have some upstairs hosts, and then you'll have some downstairs hosts working the kitchen and the dining room. And so our Silverleaf hosts are, they're kind of doing everything. They're doing the service and doing the food and doing the storytelling, and they really enjoy it. But yeah, that's the general thing. And there's, yeah, that's all I want to say.
Great, okay. And somebody asked, what about white label? Can we use white label?
I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not 100% sure either. Let me see. What about white label?
I mean, I think that means that could you put together a Rocky Mountaineer journey and call it a ABC Travel journey through the Canadian Rockies? And you certainly could. All of the documentation and everything is going to be from Rocky Mountaineer for the journey. But if you wanted to sort of brand it as your own experience, that would be certainly something that people do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, George.
Great. So I think.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
A couple more were submitted. Do you want to? Shall we wrap it up, or what do you think?
Well, let's do 2 more, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So Thelma asks, what journey or route would you recommend for first timers?
Ooh, that's a very good question. As I say, probably our most popular route is the first passage to the west, which is the journey between Vancouver, and you can either stop in Lake Louise or Banff at the other end, and you either begin or end, as I keep having to say, we go both directions. So that's, because most people have sort of heard of and want to visit Lake Louise and or Banff during their trip to the Canadian Rockies. On the other hand, there's a lot to be said for the journey through the clouds, which ends in Jasper. And Jasper is a little bit more rustic and a little bit more kind of really in the interior of the Canadian Rockies, and less maybe kind of crowded in the summer. So, it really depends on what your people are looking for. And of course, if they go to Jasper, that doesn't mean they can't include Banff and Lake Louise as a land portion of their overall trip. So I think it's really a good idea, and we give you some things that you can, when we're talking about the routes, like if somebody's really interested in history, they might be more interested in the First Passage to the West. If they're more nature and they really want to see, the best chances to see wildlife, they might want to get up into Jasper. But those are all just real variables that you can find out more when you do the tracks training.
Of course. Fantastic. And the last question I'll read out here is from Richard, and he asks, I've heard a lot of Australians are working on the trains. Is that true?
We have a very international staff working on the trains and actually traveling on the trains as well. So you will certainly have Aussies and Kiwis, but you'll also have English and Canadian and American and all different peoples from all over that really love working on our trains and with our people.
Excellent. So I do believe that wraps up the Q&A. So I would like to thank everyone that took time out of your day to attend the webinar today. And George, thank you so much for your fantastic presentation. It was great having you.
Great. Thanks so much, Dan. And thanks everybody for coming. Like I say, I'm really honored you took time out of your day to learn about us. I hope you get a lot of value out of the tracks training. And I'd love to see you become a tracks superstar. It's a wonderful product to sell.
Great. Thanks again, George.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.